ॐ त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देवदेव। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तिसुदेशिकेन्द्रं द्वैपायनं सूत्रकृतं मुनीन्द्रं श्रीशङ्करं भाष्यकृतं यतीन्द्रं मद्देशिकञ्चापि नमामि विद्यै। ओम नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञानगणः प्रत्यगर्तो ब्रह्मैवाहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्नपारिजाताय स्तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। Pranams everyone. We are in the second chapter, Sloka number 52. Shri Bhagavan uvacha yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya sutasya cha. So, from Sloka 51 to 53, that is the previous sloka, this sloka and the next sloka, Bhagavan is giving a summary of the entire Vedanta. In sloka 51, he basically said that moksha is two-step process. Karmajam buddhi yuktahi. So basically he said, after doing karma yoga and phalam tyaktva, having given up the result, which is by doing karma yoga, Manishinaha, the karma yogis become wise, go to jnana yoga and get moksha. And what is the benefit of it? Janma bandha vinur muktaha. So they get freed from the bondage of birth. Padam gacchanti anamayam. Padam gacchanti anamayam means finally they attain padam, paramapadam, moksha, anamayam, which is free from all kinds of doshas. So Bhagavan gave the summary of Vedanta in Sloka 51. Now in Sloka 52, Bhagavan is giving the lingam or the indication for people to know whether they have attained the benefit of karma yoga. How do I know whether I have got the benefit of doing karma yoga? What is the indication for me to know that I have done karma yoga properly and that I am qualified for jnana yoga? So Bhagavan is actually saying, Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati. When yadate moha kalilam. Yada means when. Te buddhihi, your intellect. Moha kalilam vyatitarishyati. Vyatitarishyati means goes beyond. When your intellect goes beyond what? Moha kalilam. Moha kalilam means the mist of delusion. Kalilam means ashuddham. Moha means delusion. Delusion itself is ashuddham, impure. So he says when your mind goes past the mist of delusion or the impure delusion, tada gantasi nirvedam. That is when you will attain nirvedam. Nirvedam means dispassion, vairagya. So when your intellect goes beyond the mist of delusion and attains vairagya, vairagya on what? Shrotavyasya sutasya cha. Shrotavyasya means towards what is yet to be heard. And shrutasya cha, what is already heard. Now how do we understand this? What do we need to understand? On what is yet to be experienced. You have a dispassion on what is yet to be experienced by you, and you have a dispassion on whatever has been experienced by you. So when you attain that, that is the lingam, that is the identification for you to say that you have got the benefit of karma yoga. Now we did a vichara on this. Started doing a vichara, basically saying, first we know what is karma yoga. Bhagavan has already taught until sloka 50 what is karma yoga, what is the benefit of karma yoga. He has given already all those things. Ishwararpana Buddhi, not having any expectation, whatever be the outcome, taking it as prasada, and doing our duties without any interference of our likes and dislikes. That is basically Karma Yoga. But what happens is, why do we need to do Karma Yoga? Because by nature, inherently, every one of us have got this intellect is already ridden with the delusion. This delusion is not something we have gained in this life. This delusion is inherent in our intellect. So by doing or performing Karma Yoga, this inherent delusion is removed. What is this inherent delusion make us say things about this world? It tells us about, why can't we, cheat here and there? Why can't we skip our duties? Why not we be smart with our words? Why can't we gain something extra from someone? It always looks for what is the benefit that I can get materially in this world. And even if that means not following dharma, not following the morals, values, and not going through the legal path, it is still fine. That is what the inherent delusion in us make us do. And sometimes if people are really try to follow this properly, we will call them as, fools. They are not smart. They are not street smart, or we call ourselves also sometimes we are not street smart. And we say in today's world this will not work. So this is all samsara. And we did a little more vichara on the buddhi also. The buddhi and the mind. Basically our antakarana is split into two. In fact it can be split into four, but now we can split it into two. Manaha and buddhi. Whatever the thoughts that are coming in our mind. What is antakarana? Antakarana is basically a collection of thoughts. It's a single organ, it's a collection of thoughts. Now it can be split into two. Functionally it can be split into two. One is manaha, another one is buddhi. Whenever thoughts arise, whenever doubts arise, whenever there is an emotional requirement, that's when the mind, it is called as mind. It's the function of the mind. Whenever we make any decisions, and whenever the rational component of the thoughts arise, that is called as intellect. So that's why we have two personalities, emotional personality and intellectual personality. Now with regards to the intellect, we take the intellect now because we are talking about yadate moha kalilam. Moha kalilam is when the intellect is ridden with moham. The intellect has got this disease called moham, delusion. So what happens, this intellect by nature, the intellect's nature or swabhava is to actually discriminate. It has the power to discriminate. When I say discriminate, it's not in the negative connotation. It has got the ability to split or understand, differentiate things. The intellect has the capacity to differentiate between what is dharma, what is adharma. The intellect has the capacity to understand what is real, what is false, it also has got the capacity, or it should have the capacity to understand what is nitya and what is anityam. But the inherent delusion, the inherent problem that intellect has makes it see the opposite way. Sometimes we see what is dharma to be adharma, sometimes adharma to be dharma. That is because of the problem of the intellect. In the same way, we also see what is permanent to be transient and what is transient to be permanent. For example, we see the world, the relations, the body, everything to be sashvatam at times. Most of the times we take it to be sashvatam, forever. But that is the problem with the intellect. The intellect sees things differently. That is because of the inherent delusion. But so this delusion is sometimes so strong that even if the intellect tries to make it look initially what is right and wrong, the delusion will cover up. The delusion will overpower the intellect. We gave an example. A lot of people, even doctors, for example, smoke cigarettes. They drink alcohol. They know very well. Who can know better about the problems of drinking and smoking more than a doctor? Not us. Definitely the doctors are more qualified, more knowledgeable, have got this understanding. And yet they drink and smoke. It's because they feel that it will do them good. That is where the delusion comes in. The delusion will be so strong that it will justify and cover up the intellect. So what is the benefit of Karma Yoga? Bhagavan says if you live by Karma Yoga, if a person follows Karma Yoga, that Karma Yoga lifestyle will remove that delusion, will remove that moham. And that will be our biggest strength. Our biggest strength, that what separates us from all the animals, all the creatures in this world, is the intellect. And if the intellect is inherently at fault, then we will not be able to make the best use of intellect. So when can we make the best use of intellect? When the delusion is removed. How can we remove delusion? By living a lifestyle of Karma Yoga. Remember, it is not this Karma Yoga lifestyle is not to change anyone else. We are not here to change anyone in this world. And a lot of problems that we say that we have in our life is not the problems that we find within us. The problems that we see are all around the people around us. We say that this person is so bad, this person behaves badly, this person is not nice, he is very inconsistent. The whole world is a problem for us, but not us. And we want others to change and others to behave the way we want them to behave. But that will never happen. We will not be able to change anyone by what we say. In fact, if what we say adds or gives so much of power, then we should be able to change ourselves. We do not. We are not able to change even ourselves. Even our intellect does not take in whatever we say. So to expect others, it is foolishness. So now what we have to do, we have to get rid of this delusion. And to get rid of this delusion, if I know what is true, what is false, if I know what is dharma, what is adharma, will my intellect be able to agree to it? Or will my intellect be able to support that in every action of mine? No. Why? Because there is inherent delusion. Just by learning or knowing what is dharma and adharma, I will not be able to follow dharma and adharma. What do I need to do? I need to apply Karma Yoga. I need to employ Karma Yoga. I need to convert all my actions into Karma Yoga. And by living a life of Karma Yoga, I will be able to remove this delusion from my intellect. So this is Yadate Moha Kalilam. When I am able to Buddhir Vyatita Rishyati, when I am able to cross over this mist of delusion, then I can say this Karma Yoga is complete. I have lived a life of Karma Yoga. The delusion makes us look at things improperly even in this world. The delusion makes us look as if people, power, money, fame, position are the goals of life. These are not the goals of life. The only purpose of life is actually to get moksha. In Tamil we say, Ippiravi tappinal eppiravi vaikumo edu mariyen paraparame. Only the human life has the capacity to go to moksha or attain moksha. And we don't know how many births we will get before we get the next human birth. So These are all, money is necessary, house is necessary, all these things are necessary. These are all not to be taken as goals of life. So if I look at getting my next job is my goal of life, then that is a problem. See, it is needed, but it is not the only goal of life. That we have to understand. Otherwise, what happens if we continue to keep them as the goals of life? First of all, it is insatiable. All these desires are insatiable. They will never end. After one goal comes another goal, another goal. We can never say, okay, I am done with all the things. I am fully satisfied with whatever I have attained. Nobody is able to say that. Because if as long as you keep all these material things, all these worldly things as a goal, we will never be Purna, we will never be complete. And that is what happens then? The journey keeps continuing, not only in this life, because this same intellect and buddhi and manaha comes to the next janma also, the same intellect will keep looking for more material things. And that's what Kathopanishad calls Mrityocha Mrityum Gachati. From one death we go to another death. It's called as samsara. So this intellect is very important because intellect is the cause of samsara through the delusion, and the same intellect is also needed for moksha. Moksha is Jnana Yoga. What is Jnana Yoga? Jnana Yoga is knowledge. Where does the knowledge need to reside? The knowledge need to reside in the intellect. So this intellect is very important in that aspect. And as long as the intellect is ridden with delusion, with this moham, we will not be able to even determine the goal of life. Forget going through the path. We will not even know what is the goal of life. Because the delusion will make us believe wrong things. It gives us viparita buddhi. And what does Bhagavan say? Bhagavan says, by doing, as a result of doing karma yoga, as a benefit of sacrificing the results of our action. What is karma yoga? We are sacrificing the results of our action. As in, we do our duty, accept whatever be the outcome. Or even if there is no outcome, or even if the outcome is against what we expect it to be, that is called as sacrificing the results of our action. By doing that, Bhagavan promises that he will remove our moha from the buddhi, our delusion from our buddhi, our intellect. So what will happen if I don't follow karma yoga? If I don't do karma yoga, what will happen is, we might get everything. We might get name, power, fame, position, everything. Bhagavan will give everything. Even that is also given by Bhagavan only. What about moha, delusion? Bhagavan need not give us. He need not give because it is inherently present in us. But by not following karma yoga, what will happen is, the moha, the delusion will even increase. That's why we have a lot of people who might get a lot of money, but they don't know how to use it. The money itself will bring their downfall. In fact, if Bhagavan wants to bring down somebody, he wants to bring down nasham for that person, the worst thing that can happen to a person is just give him money, power, fame, position, but not the right intellect. But what will happen is, he will start thinking that he has got lucky. Or worse still, he might even think that he deserves it all. And then what will happen? Without that maturity, without that intellectual maturity, this power, this money, this position will bring this person down. It is as bad as a child carrying a knife. So, Bhagavan's dharma works in subtle ways. So, from the outside we will not know. Give me a second, I will just bring some water. So Bhagavan's dharma we will not know from the outside, but it will work in subtle manners. What is the benefit of Karma Yoga? Benefit of Karma Yoga is this delusion is removed from our intellect. Once the delusion is removed, then I'll be able to identify what is right, what is wrong, what is the real goal of life, what is the path to attain moksha, what is the lifestyle that is suitable for getting that. We will know that. Until that time, we live in the life, our intellect remains in delusion, and the only way that we can get that delusion removed is by living the life of Karma Yoga. So the first benefit of Karma Yoga is moha nivritti, removal of delusion. And once we get this, intellect is now capable of making the right judgment. Sorry. So that is what we call it as Viveka. I hope you remember when we had studied the introduction to Vedanta, or even during the second chapter, we talked about Saadana Chatushtaya Sampatti. The fourfold qualifications needed for Vedantic study or for moksha. We call it as Saadana Chatushtayam. And Viveka is one of them. What is that Viveka? We saw Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. So, Viveka is basically to say that I have a clear understanding of what is permanent and what is transient. Actually, this Viveka, we don't need to have this Viveka. We have this intellect which is capable of analyzing and saying this to us. But because by nature our intellect is capable of discriminating. We already know what is permanent and what is transient. We know, or rather, we don't know, but we have the power to discriminate. We have this power to discriminate, but because of the delusion, it functions wrongly. And if that problem is removed, the Viveka Shakti is revealed in the intellect. So this is the Karma Yoga's first benefit, Viveka. Then the second benefit of Karma Yoga is Vairagya. What is Vairagya? Ragaha means attachment. We have heard this term Raga Dvesha, attachment and aversion. So this Ragaha is attachment. Viragaha means non-attachment. So we saw the intellect has a fault. The intellect has a fault or dosha, and that is moha. The delusion in the intellect is the fault of that is inherent in the intellect. Similarly, the mind has a fault as well. The mind has a dosha, and that dosha is called as ragaha or attachment. If the fault is removed, it is called as viragaha or vairagya, or we can say dispassion. So how do we understand? There are two things, buddhi, manaha. Buddhi's dosha is moham. That moha nivritti is called as viveka. Manaha has a dosha that is called as ragaha. That raga nivritti is called as vairagya. So if these two diseases are removed, then we will get viveka and vairagya. Now we will do a small vichara on raga, attachment. In Sanskritam, ragaha means to stick. To stick. It is like the sellotape. Whenever we want to use the sellotape, we put it out and it does not get out of our hand so easily. When we take it from one hand to put it to another hand, it will get stuck there. And every time it is very difficult to pull it out. It will stick to the pulled hand. Whichever hand it tries to pull, it will stick to it. In the same manner, the mind's nature, our mind's nature is that it wants to stick to someone at any point of time. someone or something or some object or some person or some relation, at any point of time it wants to keep sticking to something. If we leave one attachment, it will get attached to another. So rather, if we get disillusioned by one person, then it gets attached to another. It cannot remain alone. The mind has to or will get attached to something or someone or some other. For example, initially it may be attached to the parents, then friends, then spouse, then the children, then the grandchildren. The mind constantly wants to get itself attached to somebody or something. And the problem with this mind is of no use even if the intellect is free from delusion. Even if the intellect has got the Viveka Sakti, if the mind is not matured, the intellect cannot do things of its own if the mind is not cooperative. That's why we have this problem, right? I mean, we say next day, from today, next few days, the intellect will say, okay, we will wake up at 4:30 a.m. every day. The first day, maybe the mind will try to, fight against it, but then the intellect will overpower. Third day onwards, the mind will say, no, I did not make this call, you made the call, I am not going to get up, neither the body will cooperate. So what happens when the mind and the intellect does not work together? If the mind does not cooperate, irrespective of what decision the intellect makes, it does not matter at all. So the mind also has to mature. Getting Viveka in our mind in our intellect is only halfway done. It's like the vegetable is there, but for you to get this, it has to ripen itself to a fruit. And the only way is if the mind is also ripened itself to attain Viraga or ripen to Vairagya, then only we can take the benefit out of both. Now, what is Vairagya? Some people wrongly understand Vairagya to be stubbornness. They say, my son has this Vairagya that he wants to watch this, to movie on the first show. Vairagyama irukama. The patre thiruven. That is not Vairagya. That is being stubborn. That is being obstinate. Or some people take Vairagya to be aversion, hatred. They think that the world has to be hated. One needs to have an aversion towards this world. And some people have this opinion that, by getting into Bhagavad Gita, by learning all these Shastras and Upanishads and all those things, people will start hating the world. You will start developing an aversion towards this world. No, that is not what it is. Vairagya is not about aversion. But in the beginning stage, it is okay to be stubborn. It is okay to have an aversion also. In the beginning, for example, if somebody at home says, do not attend Gita class, but it's okay to be stubborn to attend Gita class. In the same way, it is okay to have an aversion or hatred towards bad things. So in the beginning stage, it's okay. And for right purpose. Stubbornness on good things, aversion on bad things is still fine. But in Shastras, what is the meaning of Vairagya? First, again, Vairagya is first of all not an action. It is not an action. Suppose when we go to somebody's house and that person is meditating or that person is performing puja, You can say he is doing this act of meditation. He is doing the act of puja. He is performing an action. But we cannot say that this person is doing Vairagya, is performing Vairagya. Because if Vairagya is not an action, if Vairagya is an action, then every one of us can perform that action and attain Vairagya. But unfortunately that it is not. And Vairagya is not easy to attain. Vairagya is not easy to attain because, let's look at the history. Even people who had got the benefits of performing tapas, penance, meditation, bhakti, intellectually so mature, they have not been able to attain Vairagya. Ravana, who had done so much of tapas, but he had not been able to attain Vairagya. So Vairagya is not an action. Then what is Vairagya? Vairagya is an attitude in our mind. It is a bhavana. What sort of attitude? We'll see that. But it is an attitude by which we see this world. The moment we say it is an attitude, then we can only attain from the benefit of that attitude. The attitude means, if the moment I say attitude, I have to attain benefit from that attitude only. We cannot employ that attitude as and when I please also. It is not something like, I am going to have Vairagya between 9 and 10 tomorrow. I cannot say that. Or I can say, from tomorrow onwards I will have Vairagya. Today onwards I have not had Vairagya. Tomorrow morning also onwards I will employ this attitude of Vairagya. I will do. That is not how it works. It's like, I cannot say, I am going to get angry tomorrow afternoon at 10:30, tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. Or I am going to get jealousy tomorrow afternoon at 12 noon. We cannot do that. If it is there, it is there. If it comes out, it comes out. That's all. Attitude is something that has to come in the mind. So same thing, Vairagya, I cannot employ Vairagya as and when I need. I cannot say that I am going to get Vairagya tomorrow. So it is an attitude. And it cannot be employed as and when I need. It has to come on its own. Now, when I say Vairagya, of course, if it is an attitude, then we have to have two things. What kind of attitude I need to have, and on what object should I employ this attitude? What person or what possession, what object, what situation do I need to have this attitude? Two questions. So, on what object, what kind of attitude? On what object? Vairagya is an attitude that we have to have on the entire world. It is an attitude that I have to have on the entire world. Which means everything around me, and also includes my body. It includes my mind. Because I am not the body, I am not the mind. Anyway, we'll come to see later. When we say world, it includes everything including my body. An attitude that I have to have on the world. Now, what kind of attitude? That we cannot answer directly. But if we give the opposite of Vairagya, we will be able to understand. See, what happens is, when we don't have Vairagya, all Jivarasis, especially humans, what happens is, we see this world as something to be enjoyed. We see the world to be a bhoga vastu. In the sense, we look at what happiness can I gain from each object. And that's what we do. We want to do things that to make us happy. So we want to be we see this person, if I am with this person, I'll be happy. So I'm looking to get happiness through that company. If I eat this thing, I'll become happy. So what happiness can we gain from each object? That is how our mind thinks. That the things around me, they are to be enjoyed so that I can gain happiness. This is what our mind thinks. To remove that idea from our mind is Vairagya. In other words, when we don't see this world as a bhoga vastu, something that has to be enjoyed, that attitude is called as Vairagya. Then how do I need to see the world as? I need to see this world as an object created by Bhagavan. That attitude is called as Vairagya. In this world, we can see whatever we want, we can hear whatever we want, we can eat whatever we want. But when we link with that, what should be the linking, what should be in our mind? That all this has been created by Bhagavan. We keep bringing that attitude. That is called as Vairagya. Another definition for Vairagya we can say is, one is to not see the world as an object of seeking pleasure. Or don't look at the world for seeking pleasure. Object for seeking pleasure, that is one definition. The second is, Vairagya can also be defined as removing the moham, removing the delusion on the worldly objects. Bhogeshu moha tyagaha. Removing the delusion. Does that mean I cannot see anything, I cannot eat anything, I cannot experience anything? No, that is not what it is. Everything in this world can be used for transactional purposes. We can eat, we can drink, everything we can see for living, yes, but not the other way around. We don't live to eat, we don't live to drink, we don't live to watch and see. Generally speaking, our indriyas, our sense organs, can be used in two ways. One is for transactional purposes, second is for enjoying. The ears can be used for hearing necessary words, shastric words, knowledge, whatever. Or the ears can be used for hearing gossip also. The eyes can be used to see what is required, to go to kshetram, to see the world, to enjoy nature as a manifestation of Ishvara. We can do that. Or we can use our eyes to see unwanted things also. Same thing with tongue. Tongue can be used for eating what is needed, or it can be used for enjoying tasty delicacies. So to use the sense organs only for transactional purposes and not for enjoyment is called as Vairagya. Or a better definition, as I said, the earlier one, to not expect bhoga, enjoyment from worldly objects, is called as Vairagya. This is more apt. To not expect bhoga or enjoyment from worldly objects is called as Vairagya. Then we may get a doubt. Then how can I get happiness in life? If I am only using everything for transaction purposes, where am I going to get happiness? What we need to understand here is, what needs to be known, this is the truth, is all these things which give you happiness or seemingly give you happiness, they give you happiness in the beginning only, but will give sorrow at the end. Every happiness is mixed with sorrow. Viveka has taught us. And if our mind is free from this moha kalilam, this Viveka would have set in, and that Viveka would say Anatma will initially seem to give us happiness, but at the end it will give us only sorrow to the same extent as it has given us happiness, if not more. In fact, the account will tally only when we experience the same amount of happiness, the same amount of sorrow as much as we enjoyed the happiness. And so, therefore, if we do not enjoy happiness from the Anatma, it will not give us sorrow also. So this Vairagya is about removing the feeling of seeking enjoyment. See, you go, somebody serves you food, you taste it, you like it, it's fine. That is not seeking enjoyment. But you look forward, or you take action, or you force yourself to seek enjoyment, and therefore you take certain measures. That is the problem. So Vairagya is about removing the feeling of seeking enjoyment on objects. And this Vairagya will come as it is not as I said, it is not an attitude that I have in my control. That I say tomorrow onwards I will have Vairagya on all these objects. Tomorrow onwards I will not seek enjoyment from the breakfast that I have. It does not work that way. Vairagya comes as a result of something else. It comes as a phalam. So Vairagya is a goal. The sadhana is karma yoga. As I do karma yoga, Vairagya will automatically set in. It will slowly dawn upon us. First the Viveka to say, hey, these are all transient, not permanent. These are things that are going to give you sorrow more than happiness. Use it judiciously. And then the Vairagya attitude starts setting in, saying, I'm not going to seek enjoyment, I'm going to do what is necessary. And this Vairagya will come as a benefit from Karma Yoga. It becomes initially the Sadhyam. Then once I have this Vairagya, I use the Sadhyam now becomes Sadhana, because that Vairagya is necessary for me to do Vedanta Vichara, Atma Vichara, and by that I will attain moksha. So the first sadhana is Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga gives me two of the important Saadana Chatushtayam, Viveka and Vairagya. These are the first two sadhyams for me, Viveka and Vairagya. So Bhagavan says here, Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati. When you cross over the dirt of delusion, tada gantasi nirvedam. That is when we will experience Vairagya in your mind. Nirvedam means Vairagya. Tada gantasi nirvedam. You will attain Vairagya. On what? Shrotavyasya srutasya cha. On everything that is to be experienced or everything that has been already experienced. So when can I stop Karma Yoga? Once I get Viveka and Vairagya. What happens next after I get that? I dedicate myself to the next sadhana, Jnana Yoga. Then another question comes. Then should I actually, right now what we are doing is Jnana Yoga. Should we not go to Jnana Yoga listening to scriptures until we get Viveka and Vairagya? Because I have not got Viveka and Vairagya yet. Should I do Jnana Yoga or not? First of all, only if we come to this class, we will come to know that there is something called Viveka, there is something called Vairagya, and that can be attained only through Karma Yoga. We don't even know the road, we don't even know the path. Roadmap itself we are not aware until we come to the class. So the roadmap, for the sake of understanding the roadmap, end to end, for understanding what is dharma, what is adharma, what is nitya, what is anitya, what is shravana, manana, nididhyasana, to have an understanding at least, we need to come to the class. And in the initial stages, this Vedanta Shravanam itself will give us some bit of Viveka and Vairagya. We will not get 100%. 100% can be got only through Karma Yoga. But by listening to the Shastric Shravanam itself, Shastra Shravanam itself will give us some bit of Viveka and Vairagya. That's why, for some people listening to Vedanta, the class could be boring. Some people would feel sleepy, some people the mind would be overworking, some people they will start planning for the next day's activities. There could be little disinterest also. But what will happen is, when we keep listening to it without giving up, we will soon realize that this vichara, this Atma, what is Anatma, what I think of me, what is actual real me, what is Nityam, what is Anityam, what is Viveka, this slowly will itself give us the Viveka and a bit of Vairagya also. So initially the Vedanta Vichara will give us the secondary benefit. What is the primary benefit of Vedanta Vichara? The primary benefit of Vedanta Vichara is moksha. Because the moment the Guru says Tattvam Asi, the Shishya will say Aham Brahmasmi. That is the final or absolute benefit of Vedanta Vichara. But initially, it will help us to give us the secondary benefit, which is Viveka and Vairagya. Now question then is, Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatitarishyati tata gantasi nirvedam srotavyasya sutavyasya. Okay, I know. Now, have I crossed over the mist of delusion? Have I attained? So how long do I need to do this karma yoga? When will I know that I have crossed over this mist of delusion? When will I know that I have attained Viveka and Vairagya? Now the question is, when you ask yourself whether I have attained Viveka, whether I have attained Vairagya, you can be pretty sure that you have not attained. Whenever we are in doubt, we have not done that. We are not there. Just like whenever we are saying, I am not sure whether I am hungry or not, pretty sure you are not hungry. There is no hunger. So that is how it is. The Viveka by itself will let us know that we are there. Viveka will say, how are you before? How are you now? Viveka will let us know. Viveka itself will let us know. So that is how you can understand that you have attained the benefit of Karma Yoga. Now we'll go to the Sloka. Yada te moha kalilam buddhir vyatita rishyati. Yada, when te buddhihi, when your intellect, vyatita rishyati, goes beyond, where moha kalilam, the dirt of delusion, tada gantasi nirvedam, then you gantasi, attain nirvedam, dispassion, then you will attain dispassion. So this nirvedam, as I said, Bhagavan has taken from the word dispassion, it is taken from the Mundaka Upanishad, and many other Upanishads use nirvedam. Even in Nirveda Mayat, there is another reference even in Bhagavad Gita. But in Mundaka Upanishad we say Parikshya Lokan Karmachatan Brahmano Nirveda Mayat. Bhagavan's Upanishad says a person will explain or examine the world thoroughly. Parikshya Lokan Karmachatan. Parikshya means examine. So he will examine this world and understand that there is no need to keep attachment. There should be no attachment in this world. And by examining this world, he will say that having an attachment is a problem, and therefore attain Brahmano Nirveda Mayat. He will attain Nirvedam. Bhagavan is saying the same thing here. Nirvedam Gantasi. Nirvedam Gantasi. And in what should I attain Vairagya? Shrotavyasya Srutasya cha. Shrotavyasya. There can be two meanings for this Shrotavyasya Srutasya cha. First meaning is we will take whatever, Shrotavyasya means whatever we will be experiencing in future. Srutasya cha means whatever we have experienced in the past. We will have Vairagyam on them. Now what does this mean? We had experienced so many things in this world so far. Anything that we experience in this world, any action we do, it will create samskaras in our mind. Samskaras, some kind of vasanas. It will create a residue. It will create a residue in our mind. And it will create me this feeling that this will give me joy, this will give me comfort, this is actually I don't like. This raga dvesha will also be as a result of this samskara. So this samskaras will, say for example, the first time I'm experiencing, say for example, a helicopter ride. Some people like it, some people don't like it. Some people say, okay, I like it. So this raga will be in this mind. Some people will say, I'm afraid. So this fear or aversion will be there in the mind. So these samskaras will be created. Every action that we do. And both raga or dvesha is unnecessary. It's not needed, but it will be created. So when we see that object again, the attachment that I had created in our mind will drive us to enjoy that again. Or the aversion will make us hate it more. So here Bhagavan says, all these days, whatever you had experienced so far in your life, on all these things, now you will have Vairagya, which means you will not feel either attachment or aversion on whatever you have experienced so far. Whatever I have experienced, meaning whatever I have seen, whatever I have tasted, whatever I have heard, is all whatever I experienced. And when I get a Vairagya on all these things, I will realize that none of these things have been able to provide me fulfillment. Initially, I thought, if I do that, my life is done. And how many times we would have said, if I do that, my life will be done. Right from the days of our school days. If I finish this exam, I am done. If I get the job, I am done. If I get married, I am done. If I get my child, I am done. If I get retired, if I am getting my grandchildren, I am done. If I see my children married, I am done. There is no end to it. There is nothing that has provided me fulfillment until now. And that I will be able to realize. So we will have Vairagya on what we have experienced. Now there is a fear. What I have gained Vairagya on all that I have experienced. But what if there is a new person that comes into my life? Will I get attached to that person? What if I get attached to another object? I have overcome my addiction on my mobile, but what if there is a new gadget that comes in the future? Will I be addicted to that? Bhagavan says, whatever relationship you will have with various nama rupa in future, whatever padarthas that you will enjoy in future, whatever you will experience from now on also, you will have Vairagya on those things also. So if a proper karma yogi, if he has completed karma yoga, he will have Vairagya on not only things that he has experienced, he will have Vairagya on things that he will experience in future also. Shrotavyasya srutasya cha. So I said there are two meanings to this. Shrotavyasya srutasya cha. The first meaning is whatever we have experienced and whatever we will be experiencing in future. The second meaning is Shrotavyasya cha means whatever you think are worthy of experiencing, you will consider them worthless. So a Sampradaya Guru says, when you see this world to be nishpadam pradipadi, that it is worthless. What is worth of living in this life? Or when can I say that I have got my life's worth? This life's worth. When can I say that I have got my life's worth? When I am able to understand and conclude that nothing in this life is worthy enough to fulfill me. Nothing in this world, you have to understand, to fulfill me. I am not saying it is all worthless things that Ishvara has created. What I am saying is, nothing in this life is worthy enough to fulfill me. All objects in this world are nishpadam, worthless, with regards to fulfilling me. Does it mean that the worldly objects are not needed? No, they are needed for Vyavahara. I need a family, I need things, I need money, I need house and all those things. For transactional needs, yes. But not for my fulfillment. Not for my emotional fulfillment, not for my contentment. When I am able to get this bhavana, at that time we can think of, some people have this feeling, I should go and, this world, as long as I am in this world, it's all problem. I should probably go to Rishikesh, take up sannyasa. No. You can go to Rishikesh and take sannyasa only if you come to this conclusion that nothing in this world can give me contentment. Until the time that the morning coffee is needed for me to give me that contentment or make my life start well for the day, you will have to continue doing our duty. So, what does Bhagavan say? When your intellect goes beyond the mist of delusion, then you will attain this passion. When this Viveka and Vairagya comes into my intellect and my mind, I can say I have got the benefit of Karma Yoga. It is the realization that no object in this world will give me contentment. Whatever I ever attain, nothing can ever fulfill me. That is Karma Yoga's benefit. And when we say that if this cannot fulfill me, what has to fulfill me? Atma Swarupa. So the benefit of Karma Yoga, Bhagavan has given two here. One, Viveka and Vairagya. We can add the third one, which is Mumukshutvam. So the first benefit is Viveka, to know which is Nitya, what is Anitya. The knowledge to know the difference between what is temporary and what is permanent. Then the attitude that I should have on all the temporary things, Anityam, Vastu, is Vairagya. I should have a dispassion towards all the Anitya objects. Then the attitude that I should have on the Nitya Vastu or Nityam is Mumukshutvam. The desire for moksha, the desire for attaining Brahman or attaining Brahmajnana. So these are the three things that we can gain as a benefit of Karma Yoga, fruits of Karma Yoga. Now, how long is the Karma Yoga need to be done? Is it a 2-year course, 3-year course? Do we have a fast track? No, there is no thing. Some people do it. So if some people do it sincerely and through with dedication, and depending on the samskaras they have got over their multiple births, they will be able to attain earlier. Some people take longer, some people take even multiple lives. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. No need to look at others. We just need to follow our path. For every one of us, the moksha cup is available. Nobody can snatch away our moksha cup. It is there for everyone. Not the first 10 only get it. Everybody can get it. And everybody can take their own time. It's not about others. But once we are on this path, Bhagavan promises, even in your next life, I will ensure that you continue on this path. This he gives we'll see it in chapter 6, where Bhagavan talks about Yoga Bhrashta. So that's why this does not have any age bracket. Everybody can come. There is no time period. But it's already 5 o'clock. We'll have to stop now. So we will continue in the next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
Hari Om.